we're going to go ahead and get started because I do want to be respectful of your time and I want to thank you for being here. My name is Megan and I'm in my classroom. I'm a teacher. I teach at Troy School and I'm here because the Wi-Fi is so much better than it is at my house. So I teach history and geography and government and all that stuff. So we're hanging out in my classroom tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Since it's just you and me right now, if you have questions, don't be afraid to type those into the chat box and I can answer them. Like I said, I had lots of people who responded that they were coming and maybe they all got busy or whatever, but this is going to be recorded and I will make sure to send the replay out to you and as well as anyone else who registered for that. In case something came up and they want to catch it later, I do hope that you will get a ton of practical information out of this that will help you with your teenager because it's hard. It's so hard. I know formerly being an anxious teenager, but now raising teenagers who definitely have anxiety, and my students are super anxious. And we'll talk a little bit more about them. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you and make sure that I can pull up the right thing here. And we will go here. There we go. Yay, it worked. All right. Get everything situated here. All right, again, if you could just make sure that your chat is set to all panelists and attendees, that will help you be able to not only send messages to me, but to whomever else is on here. We can have conversations. But I want to welcome you tonight to how to help your teen make peace with anxiety. This has been a 45-year journey for me. I'm 45. I have been learning how to manage my own anxiety my entire life. So we're going to dive into that tonight. I'm going to tell you what I use with myself, with my own kids. I have 4, and in my classroom with my students who really, we practice this quite often. So here. So what I want you to know tonight, and this is the main thing that I really, really think is important, is that learning to make peace with anxiety and ride those waves where you're feeling good and then all of a sudden that anxiety is right up on you again. It just means you no longer have to stay stuck in that cycle of fear and self-doubt and feeling like you just can't climb out, like you're finally feeling good, but oh no, how long till it comes back? And it means that you're going to have the tools to help your teenager or yourself if you struggle with anxiety, and the skills that you need to stop anxiety from taking over your life. I want you guys to be able to live and your teenagers to be able to live and do what they want. This is the one thing that I want you to know is possible, that you can totally do this. And I'm going to tell you right from the very beginning that for me, it was been a long process. I'm going to give you, the system that I use, and I'm going to tell you that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, so I'll just like straight up, if you are here thinking I'm going to give you like a magic bean, there is no magic bean, but it's okay. And here's why: because we learn from anxiety. And we learn in the process. And when we develop the skills that we need, we actually change so many parts of our lives that it's been incredible. So we're gonna dive into a lot of that this evening. So this is my promise to you. Thank you, first of all, for showing up. My promise and what you can expect from me tonight is that I'm going to teach you how you can take your teenager from worried and scared to feeling calm and like they can move forward with their life, like they've got control, like they can handle what's coming their way so that they don't have to constantly feel like they're being sucked down by anxiety. I want you to know that you're going to move from be able to move then from feeling helpless to empowered, to saying, you know what, I've got what I need to be able to handle this. I can do this. I can handle this. It doesn't feel good, but I got it. I'm going to move forward. From trapped and stuck, it's like I picture it. I always could tell you with my anxiety, it just felt like a whirlpool. like it would just spin and you couldn't get out. We're going to learn how to get untrapped, and the process of getting untrapped and that feeling of always just spinning, not really sure, when it was going to sneak up on you again. So moving from trapped to free to do what you want, and confused to educated, because there's so much about anxiety that we just don't if unless you live it, it's hard to understand how someone is feeling, but it's also hard to understand why it happens to begin with. So you do not want to miss this. This is big stuff. So I'm going to ask you to keep watching until the end of the webinar, because I have a free bonus that you get if you stick around. So you stick around to the end and I have a free bonus. And I think it's something that a lot of people miss out on. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So here's what you need to do. Get comfortable. I mentioned that you could bring a snack. I don't care if you're in your PJs. I'm still in my Christmas sweatshirt. And get comfortable and make sure you're in a place where you can listen without distraction. Put your phone on quiet, kind of like scoot off by yourself. Let this be your alone time, because holy smokes, it's crazy out there right now between being quarantined and social distancing, but also trying to get ready for the holidays, Christmas, or we're in the middle of Hanukkah, and the end of the year craziness. So just take this time and give yourself a little bit of quiet and relax. If you've got paper and a pen, absolutely. I have all these notes here so that I don't forget to tell you the things I want you to know, but get comfortable and let this be your time. Turn off the distractions, turn off your cell phone. If you've got a bunch of other tabs in your computer, go ahead and shut those down, because this is just going to be you and me for a little bit. All right. I don't want you to miss the thing. So how do you know you're in the right place? How do you know that you're not, like jumping into something that isn't what you need? So you are in the right place if you or your teenager is in a cycle of anxiety and maybe even panic. Those things don't have to go together. Some people have anxiety and have never had a panic attack. God bless them. That was not my story. But if you are experiencing anxiety or panic, or I'm going to throw in there low confidence, you are definitely in the right place. You're in the right place if you've tried tips and tricks and you've Googled and Pinterest and, tried all these million things, but you're totally frustrated with the results. And so is your teenager. No, I've already tried this. It doesn't work. All the things that we can look up, we are certainly not lacking for information. We have more information than we know what to do with. You're in the right place if you've tried all that and it hasn't stuck. I get it. You are in the right place if you just want to know why anxiety is so stinking powerful to begin with. Why does something that's so crazy have so much power over us? And as an anxiety sufferer myself, I will tell you that when I have anxiety, I know it's not quite right. It doesn't make it feel better, right? So we're going to find out why it's so powerful in the first place, and of course, be able to step out of that. And then you're in the right place if you're ready to help your team break that cycle and start learning strategies to grow their confidence, to grow their ability to manage their anxiety, and to get better over time, because teenagers have a lot going on. I have a senior in high school right now. I have a sophomore in college. I have an 8th grader and I have a 6th grader. They've all got stuff going on between sports and college admittance and college finals and just trying to figure out who they are. We want them to be the best that they can be. And if they've got anxiety holding them back all the time, that's not easy. And sometimes it feels absolutely impossible. So if you're dealing with that, great. You are right where you need to be right now. All right, so who am I? My name's Megan. I told you that in the beginning. I'm a teacher. You can tell behind me, I am actually in my classroom because the Wi-Fi at home is so junky. I'm a mom. So if you look over here, this is my husband. We were high school sweethearts and we have 4 kids. Like I said, I have a sophomore in college, a senior in high school, an 8th grader, and a 6th grader. This picture's a few years old. But I like it. It reminds me of a really great vacation. So I like it. So I'm a wife and I am a lifelong anxiety warrior. So this is a picture of me back in the 80s, of course, because holy cow, what's going on there? This is when I started having major anxiety. I was in the third grade. I remember what it was like to want to go down to the nurse's office and just lay down because I didn't feel good and I didn't know why I didn't feel good. And I just wanted to go home. And I felt scared and I didn't understand. And I didn't have any tools. And back in the 80s, anxiety was so kind of mystifying. My parents didn't know a lot about it. They were like, well, you're not sick, you're fine. And mental health wasn't talked about as much as it is now. So I'm so grateful for my kids and these crazy ones down here. These are some of my students that we have so much more that we've learned about mental health and about how we can help people with anxiety. And just to know when this little girl was in the third grade, if she would know what she knows now, she is not the only one that had anxiety. I didn't know anybody else had it. And it's so crazy when I talk to people now that are like, oh my gosh, yeah, it was terrible. I thought I was the only one. I really, really did. This is when anxiety was probably almost at its peak down here. This is a picture of my husband and I when we were in college. At that point in time in my life, I was having sometimes 3 major panic attacks a day. I was sleeping a lot. I was in a really dark place. I was at Purdue University seeing an anxiety counselor at the very beginning of it all. And trying to figure out how I could do this. I was taking medication that didn't work. It was rough. And I'd like to tell you that it stopped there and it didn't. It went on more into my adult life. But from the time I was in the third grade until I got to where I am now, I have gathered so much information and so much life experience and perspective on what worked for me, but also what absolutely did not work for me, and figuring out why it didn't work. So, in terms of what I do, I teach teenagers. I teach them history and geography. I also teach them how to handle this anxiety because no one should have to feel that way. Nobody should have to feel that way. If you're into credentials, I am a certified life coach, a certified health coach, a member of the International Coaching Federation. They're just stickers. Mostly I'm a mom and a wife and an anxiety warrior and a teacher. So that's who I am. So what I want you to do is to take a minute and I want you just to imagine your son or daughter just like they wake up and they're excited for what's going to happen that day. So can you imagine the opportunities or the experiences that are just like right outside their reach right now? But knowing that day when they wake up that they've got the confidence and the tools that they need, that they've got it, they can go on. They want to apply to college. They want to go away to college. They want to get a job. They want to sing on stage. They want to leave the house because they're too afraid to leave the house. They want to, not be afraid to give their speech in class because they can't. They feel like they're going to get sick. They want to do so many travel, do all of these things. You want to take a family vacation and your kid is terrified of going anywhere because social anxiety is a real thing. Or being afraid to travel because, there's so many different things. My anxiety personally has always been related to health issues. I like to sarcastically joke that I've had every disease in the world and not a single one of them. And that took over my entire life. So imagine what would open up for your teenager, and just drop me something in chat really quick. What would open up for your teenager if they had the tools that they needed? What could they do? What are they waiting to be able to jump into? So what is your teenager waiting to be able to jump into? And what would it be like for them to be like, I got this, today's my day? Something to think about. And if you have trouble picturing that, it could be, I'm not saying it is, it could be because they don't know how to get there. All right. So remember, it is possible. They just need these 3 things to be successful. All right. So this is where I want you to get your pen and your paper. and I want you to write down, these are the 3 pillars, all right? There's 3 pillars of success in this. The first one is the right system. So learning how to calm anxiety and really get through those waves is that it means that you don't have to stay stuck anymore. And we've talked about this. I've mentioned this, but when I tell you about my anxiety and I tell you about what it was like for me, um, I tried everything I could think of to not be anxious. I started taking medication for anxiety when I was in high school. It actually made my anxiety worse. It gave me suicidal ideology issues. It was horrid. Um, I tried changing, changing my routine. I tried telling myself I was stupid. I tried calling my parents to have them tell me I was stupid. I would tell everybody I knew about what I was afraid about and have them all react because I wanted to see how they would react, because I knew that if they just said, maybe if the right person said the right thing, I would feel better. That didn't work. I went to counseling. That helped a little bit, but it didn't help that much. I gave up NutraSweet. That actually did help a lot for me, not entirely. I I moved on in my life by the skin of my teeth, but always feeling like I was 2 seconds away from crumbling and falling apart. And I couldn't breathe and I couldn't function and I was exhausted. And I was at one point praying and just begging God to let me die because I just didn't want to feel that way anymore. And that was in college. And that was a super low point for me. So I had the things, I had all these ideas, and it was like throwing spaghetti against a wall just to see what would stick. And occasionally something would stick and then it would slowly, like if you can imagine a spaghetti noodle just slowly peeling off a wall and then everything falling apart again. That's where I was with it. And I was in this process of failing myself and failing everything I wanted to do. And it kind of, I mean, even to this day at 45, when I think back on the things that I held myself back from, it kind of breaks my own heart for me. It breaks my heart for that kid who I was too afraid to do anything or too afraid to make changes or too afraid to step out into things that, okay, that sounds really awful. Like I'm sabotaging my life or saying horrible things. I'm not. I'm totally grateful for my life. I'm incredibly grateful for where I am today. Like, I wouldn't change any of that. I wouldn't. And honestly, I can tell you that at this point, I'm grateful for my anxiety because it has given me what is such an important ability to be able to help other people with their anxiety. But if you are frustrated over failed attempts and this failed idea of that, what we need is the right system. And the right system is really short, medium, and long-term techniques. Like we want something that can work fast, but we also want things that build up over time to stop panic attacks before they start. If you're dealing with panic attacks, if you're not, we want to calm that underlying anxiety. I always picture it like an alligator right under the surface of the water. Like, it's there, it's going to bite your leg off in a minute. You're just not sure when. That's what anxiety felt like. We want to reduce that underlying anxiety because that underlying anxiety does things like lower our immune system. It does things like it can make us exhausted. It can make us not be able to think clearly. It can make us gain weight. It can make us snappy at other people. So if your teenager is snapping at you, if they are sleeping all the time, if their grades are tanking, all of those signs that we know, that could be anxiety. It may not, and anxiety and depression can get pretty intermingled at times. I only struggled with depression with my anxiety when I was on that one medication that was really, really bad for me. The rest of the time, it was just anxiety for me. But that's not true for everyone. It's not. I will tell you that I had some OCD with mine, which meant that I couldn't shut off my thoughts. It wasn't the kind of OCD where you have to wash your hands over and over. It was a thought OCD. So more of like obsessive thoughts or compulsive thoughts. So what we need are some quick techniques to calm anxiety and to be able to stop panic attacks before they shut you down. They can come on quick. They can come on out of the blue. And what we need to do is we need to learn how to stop those. And I'm going to teach you one here in just a minute. Okay. We need holistic and medicinal methods to treat underlying anxiety. Am I pushing medicine on you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Medicine is not for everybody, but it's not for everybody either. I take a very, very low dose of Lexapro every single day. I can still feel all of my emotions. I still can get anxious. I still can get excited. If you take too much, those things don't necessarily happen. And some people find that they don't need medication at all, and that's fantastic. We also need long-term solutions to anxiety that really rewire your brain so that your brain learns to think in a different way. This is the thing that takes obviously the most time because it's a long-term solution, but makes the most dramatic life-changing impact. And it's the thing that I think has changed my life the most, is really changing my habits and changing how I think. So let's talk about how you can stop a panic attack if you can feel it coming on. And then we're going to dig into that worksheet that I sent out with the first email. And I want to go through a couple of those questions, and I'll share it on my screen if you didn't print it or you didn't have it with you. So if you notice, if you know what it feels like to start building up to an anxiety attack. I had to do this last night when I was going to bed. For me, my anxiety is horrid when I get tired. Um, so when I could feel that I was getting a little bit irrational and I was starting to have some anxiety, and you can usually feel it right in my chest. So I was starting to feel it here. And so I put one hand on my chest and I put the other hand on my belly button. So if you do that with me now, anxiety tends to cause us to breathe really short, shallow breaths. So a lot of people with anxiety can't get their breath to go past their hands. Okay, the top hand, this hand. And what we need to do is we need to be able to breathe down so that the hand that's on our belly rises. So if you sit back and try and take a deep breath in so that you can make your hand on your stomach rise. Okay. When I first learned this technique, I was at Purdue. I couldn't do it. I could not, for the life of me, I could not breathe and make that hand on my stomach go up. Like we could only get this one to move. And now I can do it easily. So, but if you're feeling frustrated, like I can't get that there. And this is definitely something you're going to want to practice with your teenager when they are not anxious. Learn it when you feel good so that when you need it, you already know how to do it, right? We don't want to practice putting out a fire in a house when the house is on fire. We want to practice beforehand. So if it happens, we already have it down, right? You want to practice this beforehand. Okay. So what you're going to do, and there's different variations in the numbering sequence with this. I call it 5-5-7 breathing. 5-5-7 breathing is something that I teach with my students a lot. My kids know. They start to, like, my youngest daughter right now, she's 12. She's got all those crazy sixth grade girl hormones, and she'll lose it on me sometimes. And I'll say, okay, let's do this. Put your hand on your chest and your hand on your stomach, 5-5-7. So you breathe in for 5 seconds, you hold your breath for 5 seconds, and the key is really to exhale out for longer than you inhale. All right, so it looks like this, and I'll kind of be dramatic about it. So we go. So when you do that, and I usually do it, doing it twice isn't going to immediately make a huge difference. But I can tell that my shoulders are lower. Like I could feel it let go here. The more you practice that, the easier it gets. What that does is it takes that panic attack that's just about ready to start and it shuts it down. Okay. I recommend doing it for a couple of minutes at a time. It's great. Like sometimes I can feel anxious in certain situations, and you don't have to be dramatic about it. You can literally just breathe and nobody will know that you're doing that. Practice that with your teenager. That's a really quick technique that you can use if they're getting frazzled and anxious and you can tell they're building up. Stop. 5-5-7. Let them do it. I'm going to go away for 2 minutes. I'm going to come back. You breathe, then we'll talk. You don't want to try and talk with them when they are in the middle of an anxiety attack, it won't work. Trust me, they can hear you, but it's not computing. Okay. That is the system. We also need the right amount of support. Okay. I was lucky to have two parents who really, really wanted to see me feel great, who had absolutely no idea what to do about anxiety, even though my mom and my grandma both had anxiety. Um, we just didn't understand it. And my dad, God bless him, I always would call my dad because my dad was like, that's enough. You're being crazy. You're fine. I love you. And he was fantastic, but he didn't have a clue about anxiety because I don't know that he's ever actually been anxious. So when you talk with someone who has never really lived through that about what anxiety is like for them, they don't get it. So if you aren't struggling with anxiety, but you have a teenager who is, I know it is difficult for you to understand that feeling. I know that because my parents didn't really understand it. The right support, though, you can still offer, and that comes through learning. Okay. It comes through resources, it comes through counseling or coaching. Those two things are not the same, and I'll tell you that in just a minute. Or even just someone that they can talk to when they really feel anxious or stuck. So you have to have the support to really reinforce the things that, like the skills that you learn. So let's say that you look up cognitive behavioral therapy, okay? Because that's a great way to deal with anxiety. And it's something that I also teach. Let's say you look that up, you have to have support in that because you doing it yourself, you have to have people on the back end that are going to back up those things. People like your teachers, people like coaches and counselors, because you want to take what you've learned and you want to integrate those skills into your teenager's life so that they become habits. All right. So let's talk real quickly about the difference between counseling and coaching. I am a coach, I am not a counselor. Um, a counselor really works with the why. Okay. So I told you I was going to tell you about my students. I teach at a school where most of my students experience life trauma on a pretty regular basis. Either they've got a lot of drama in their family, a lot of split homes, a lot of incarcerated parents, a lot of really low income issues, abuse, neglect, things like that. It's just, I take kids who don't function well in a regular classroom and I teach them government and history. And in the process of that, we have a lot of counselors that are in our school that are mental health professionals that deal with all of the trauma on the back end. Okay. Trauma can cause a lot of anxiety. I had zero trauma in my life growing up. Okay. So trauma doesn't necessarily have to be in place, but counselors are great about dealing into the why of things. Why are you feeling anxious? Let's look at your thoughts. Let's look at what you're dealing with and why that's going on for you. Coaches deal with the more of the how. Now, don't get me wrong, counselors also deal with how. They deal with they offer a lot of techniques and solutions to deal with those feelings and those thoughts. That's true. So counselors deal more with past issues and how we can how we can deal with those past issues. Coaches move from where you are forward. So a coach would say, I see that you're feeling anxious. How would you rather feel? Let's get there. These are the steps we need to do. Okay. So in the middle of this, yes, I am a teacher. Yes, I am a coach. No, I'm not a counselor. Okay. Sometimes it's really easy for me to see just because of where I work what might be causing anxiety. Other times I don't have a clue, like in my own life where I'm like, oh, I guess I'm anxious today. I'm thrilled that I have the ability to stop that. So we also have to have the right accountability. And accountability comes through encouragement, but also through tough love. And I'm going to stop you right here because I said I was going to take a look at that worksheet and I want to do that. So I am going to go to, let's see if I can figure this out, guys. Sorry. I'm going to go to, actually, I'll stop sharing this really quick here and go into, oh, okay, sorry. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's take a look at this worksheet really quick. And if you didn't get this, it was in the first email that you got. And it's really about, where is your teenager now? So if you are struggling with anxiety, you can fill it out yourself. It would also be a great thing to have around, for your teenager, just to ask them. You don't have to have them fill out a checklist every morning, but just to say, hey, on a level of 1 to 10, where's your anxiety right now? Or where is your anxiety today when they wake up? And are they at a 1 where it's like, I'm fine, I got none? Are they at a 10 where they're like, I can't function, I can't do this, I can't, honestly, I've had tunnel vision so bad with panic attacks in the past that I felt like I was almost blind. Um, Crazy things. So, how do they feel when they wake up in the morning? What's the first thing they feel? Are they tired? Not tired like I just woke up tired, but tired like I didn't sleep tired. Are they feeling refreshed? Are they like, awesome, let's do this? It's a great day. Are they feeling apprehensive, a little bit nervous about the day? Are they calm? Are they immediately anxious and in a panic attack? Are they ready for the day? Are they feeling confident? Are they feeling grateful? That's a big one. And I think that I think we're on this edge of all these breakthroughs in what gratitude can do for you. And I dive so much into gratitude. And my 14-year-old son is ready to hang me up by my feet, I think, right now, because every day I'm like, all right, gratitude. I need three. I need three every day. Are they gratitude, or do they just feel stuck? And then, what is their morning routine? What do they do when they wake up in the morning? Do they get up and you have to go downstairs 10 times to wake them up? Do they get up and immediately get on their phone? Do they get up and work out? Do they eat breakfast? Do they get up and shower and get around? Do they refuse to shower? All of those different things. What's their morning routine like? What are they doing to set themselves up in the morning for their day? And then moving on from there, what coping skills do they already have for anxiety? These might be unhealthy. All right. Anxious adults, I mean, people that need to go out for a cigarette break because they're too anxious, or they need to go get a drink because they're too anxious. Those are coping skills. They're not healthy coping skills, but they are coping skills. So maybe they already know to breathe. Awesome. That is one tool that they've already got in their belt. Maybe they lash out at people. Maybe they're like me and they call their parents and just say, just tell me I'm crazy, and just sob and cry. It's a coping skill. Maybe they shut themselves in their room. All right. What are their coping techniques? And then put a star or circle or something next to the one that works best. Which one is working for you? And if they can't think of one, they're just bad habits. All right. Anxiety, guys, I hate to tell you this, but anxiety is as much a habit as it is a mental health issue. Do some people have anxiety because they are more wired for it? Absolutely. Do some people have anxiety because it's become a habit? Absolutely. Can you have both issues? Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So scooting on down here, what are their goals? What's their short-term goal? Like, what's something that they want to do just in the next few weeks? Maybe it's like they just want to make it to Christmas break. Maybe they want to be able to go back in the new year feeling like they can go, see a friend if you're not on lockdown. Or maybe they want to go back and feel like they've got control enough that they can get good grades. Maybe they want to be comfortable enough to, talk to somebody that they haven't talked to in a long time. It's their goal. What is their goal? A short-term goal. What is the likelihood that they think they're going to succeed? Like, do they say, I want to do that, but there's no way I can? I have this one student who we talk at least once a week. What are you going to do? Oh, I really want to do this. Yeah. Are you going to do it? No. Why not? I could never do that. We're getting there. We're getting there. She's taking very small steps to be able to do that. And that's really what we're looking for is the small steps. What's a medium-term goal? I want to do this in the next few months. Like, my medium-term goal is to be able to get everything finished up here, and to hopefully be able to have a graduation party for my daughter, because she deserves that after this crazy year, right? So what's the likelihood of success of that? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Long term, what do I want to do in the next year or so? What's the likelihood of that? So do you feel, and moving on, do you feel that you currently have the support, the system, and the accountability to achieve these goals? The support would be people that are backing you up, holding you accountable, cheering you on, and really propping you up and getting you to focus on what you want. The system is, do you have the knowledge that you need, and do you have the habits in place to create this structure to say, this is what I do when anxiety comes on, this is what I do because it works. I do 5-5-7 and then I take a walk, or I do 5-5-7 and then I write down what I was afraid of, or I I know that if I drink milk, I feel sick to my stomach and then I get really anxious. Well, quit drinking milk. Do you have that system? And the accountability is what we're going to talk about next. So if you don't have that, I want you to think about what is holding you back from having those things. Is it lack of knowledge? Is it a lack of structure at home? Is it lack of time? Is it lack of resources? So, or is it just that you just don't know where to start? Okay, those are all valid, totally valid concerns. So the next one is a big one because you get to dream big with your teenager. And I like this because I always like to know what they really want to do. Sometimes I get the look like, go away, leave me be. But what will achieving these goals open up for you if this is about you? Or for them, what will they want, like in their relationship with their friends or your family or your future self? If you have a teenager that's brilliant and they want to be an engineer, where are we on that path? Are we there? Or are you too afraid to leave your bedroom because of anxiety? So engineering school is looking pretty dim. We don't want that. I mean, if they're wired for engineering, we need those people. We need them to shine. So what are we going to do to get them there? What will not achieving these goals cost you? What if you don't? And that's like a pit of your stomach feeling, isn't it? What if you don't? And I hate that question. I hate thinking about it. And then we can move on to, these are all questions you can go through with them. You certainly don't do them right now. So why is achieving this important to you? Maybe it's for pride. Maybe it's for prize. Maybe it's because you know that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe it's just because you want to. But there's what's important about that. And then I just have a place down here for webinar notes. And then if you have any questions for the end, then you can certainly ask those. So I'm going to switch back over here to the PowerPoint again. So when we go to the right accountability, whoops, sorry about that. So when we go to the right accountability comes through encouragement and tough love. Okay. Yes. Tough love, not let me hold your hand and give you a kiss on the cheek and just sit there until you're done. Somebody that's going to say, you know what, you can do this, and we're going to step into it. Because the thing about anxiety is that the more you baby it, the worse it gets, which is really unfortunate for someone like me who just babied my way through it for a long time. And I know it's scary, but the thing about anxiety is that you have to take it head on, and you have to have somebody that's going to hold your hand and drag you into the fire one teeny tiny baby step at a time, not full on dunk. Okay. Like we're not throwing one into the pit. It is, we're going to take one step closer, one tiny step at a time. All right. So parents, when you are working with your teenagers and you are taking them towards this path to feeling really good about themselves, don't shove them on the path and step back. What we do is we take a step and we say, you're here. How are you feeling? Are you anxious? Okay. Let's talk about, let's talk about how you feel. How does your body feel? Are your fingers numb? Can you swallow? Are you breathing? And my oldest daughter always says, I'm not breathing. I'm not breathing. And I'm like, well, you're talking to me, so I know you're breathing. Okay. You're fine. Take a look around. Let's figure out where we are. So who do you know and maybe who do you know that will push your teenager and hold them to their highest self? Or who will give honest answers to those tough questions? Moms, this is a hard one because sometimes it's not us, because our mama bear comes on and we get really brokenhearted for our teenagers. We know how our teenagers work, and we know how they work, so that we click with certain spots and we don't click with others. If you're a lover and a snuggler and it's okay, baby, I'm going to help you the whole way through type of mom, awesome. We need those. We need those nurturers. But we also need somebody that said, look at me right now. You are fine. 557. And we sit there and we hold them. Now you're rational. Let's take this one step. And we hold their hand tight and we step with them. And we keep stepping with them until we know they can take that step on their next one. And the next time it comes around and we're going to take a step closer, and eventually they're going to find out they're right in the middle of their fear, and that anxiety is manageable. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for an accountability partner, but we also need somebody that's going to cheer like mad when they take that tiny first step. All right. That's what I meant when I said this is a marathon, not a sprint. We can't just say, all right, now go do it. Oh, we're going to lose them so fast because it's too overwhelming. Otherwise, they would have already done it. All right. So ask yourself, do you have the techniques, the support, the structure that you need to help your teenager make peace with anxiety? Okay. So here's what I think about why you're here tonight, or why you're watching this replay. You've probably tried other systems. You've probably Googled, you've probably looked at Pinterest. You may have tried medication, essential oils, podcasts, counseling, all the things, because they're all out there and nothing has worked yet, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You have no idea why anxiety is so powerful, and you don't understand it yet, because we can. Okay, you may not understand your anxiety yet and why it is what it is. And as a mom, when I see my kids spiraling and I have to step in and say 557 right now, and I have to put on that like the mean face, it's heartbreaking. Like, it makes me cry. It makes me sick. It makes my anxiety bunch up too. What if I can't? What if I can't? It's frustrating. It's frustrating because you just want to like say, stop it. You just want to shake them. And they're feeling so awful anyway. I mean, they're exhausted and they're like sometimes nauseous and their heart's racing and they're sweaty and they're tired of it. So you're just looking for some hope and like something that you can do, and you haven't found it yet. So you have some options though, okay? So option one, you get to keep living life as it is and, trying all the things and finding something that works and hoping that your teenager has a manageable day, because they'll have manageable days between bouts of anxiety, and you just keep trying different options. Eventually something will stick, right? So you do have that option. Option two is that you get to like dive in and like 100% commit to learning how your brain works, how their brain works, and start rewiring it so that they have less anxiety overall. Because there's this really awesome thing called neuroplasticity. It's something else to Google now, right? Neuroplasticity, that you can change your brain over time. You can change it for good, and you can change it for bad. Okay. And we just learn more techniques, and we learn whole body techniques from your brain all the way down to your toes that are proven to work over time. They calm anxiety, they stop panic attacks, and you basically choose to take control so that anxiety does not have that control. Okay, so what I want to do right now is I want to invite you to the Path to Panic Free. It is a digital course that I've created with all of the skills that I've learned in my own life, that I've learned through coaching, that I've learned from working with my students and my own teenagers. And the Path to Panic Free is really just my proven plan to calm overall anxiety and stop panic attacks fast, while really uncovering that internal power that everybody has, so that your kids can learn how to live their life without being held back by fear. That is what this is about. It's about learning how to deal with anxiety, because it's gonna happen. It's just that some people know how to handle it better. All right. So this is what I have. It's weekly lessons. It's all online. It drops one a week. It's about a $600 value. When I do regular coaching, it's about $100 a session. 6 lessons at $100 a week. They're bite sized. They're one step at a time. Their content is focused and it's all about the why we have anxiety and how we handle it. All right. In these lessons, you get short-term solutions, and they're going to teach you how to get your teen, get the anxiety and the panic attacks under control. We have medium-term solutions that help them develop new systems and new routines and to grow their confidence so that the more confident they feel in their ability to stop those panic attacks and to handle things, the more they're willing to try. And finally, we have long-term solutions that rewire their brain and that over time, it gets rid of that alligator under the surface. That is huge to not feel like, oh God, maybe today's the day where my anxiety is bad. So that you get to the point where you're like, whoo, a little anxious right now, hold on, and work through it. It happens. I swear to you, it happens like I'm sitting right here. Okay. Curated resources are basically PDFs, videos, links, worksheets, all the things that I've created to go with these lessons to support you in the steps that you learn in the path to panic free. It's about $100 value. This is just a picture of some of the resources, mirror exercises, different things like different information on affirmations, different things on like we'll practice the breathing, we'll learn about brain structure, we learn about sleep cycles, which is huge. Teenagers are incredibly in love with sleep and incredibly anti-sleep at the same time. It's amazing to me. You also get a private Facebook group for question and answer. It's every week. It's weekly group coaching. It's about a $300 value for that entire 6 weeks. So this is where the accountability steps in and the support for parents who are learning, but also if your teenager wants to come in there, support for them. Your teenager is welcome to take these lessons. You are welcome to take these lessons. You can do them together. You can do them separate. It's completely adaptable. And of course, that private Facebook group is only for people that are enrolled in this course. It is not visible to anyone else on Facebook. So what happens in that Facebook group stays in that Facebook group. It is our own personal Vegas. All right, so the total value is about $998 for all of that. Some things that I include so that you have some insight into it in the course is we talk about brain structure and function. We talk about mindfulness, meditation, and gratitude. We talk about self-talk and rephrasing and the things that we really say to ourselves that build that anxiety. We talk about sleep because it's so important. We talk about movement. And we talk about food, drink, and medication and how all of those things go together to create the system that I use with my kids, with myself. I wish I could do the food, drink thing and the medication thing with my students. It's rough, like in their sleep. So I can only do so much in the classroom, but I like it that I can bring that to this course because it's so powerful. Curated resources, how-to guides, journaling resources, charts so that you, when your teenager says, that's not true, you can say, here's the chart to show you that it's true. Suggestions for deeper understanding and resources online. I know you can Google everything, I know, but sometimes there's so much of it that if I can just say, this is the one, we have those in there. And then of course the 6 weeks of group coaching, which is about a $300 value, private Facebook group for the Path to Panic Free members only. It includes live Q&A, email, and Facebook Messenger support so that you always know that you've got somebody there that can support you for that time. All right, so this December price for December 2020 only, it is not $998. It is Christmas time and we are in the middle of a pandemic. It is $197. So the December 2020 cost for the course, which includes all the things, is $197. And that is not a price that I can say will be next time the course opens. That is right now. It may be, it may not be. So for now, $197 for all the things, and it's just a one-time payment. If that is something you're interested in, and it is so incredible, and it has been like my So when I talk to you about there's a purpose for anxiety, I honest to God feel like all the anxiety I've had in my entire life has led me to this point because now I get it. And now I can tell other people, this is what works for me. This is what works for this person. This is what works for this person. We put our heads together. You guys know your teenager. I don't know your teenager. Well, I don't think I know your teenager. I don't know your teenager, but you do. So we say, you tell me what you know about your teen. This is what we make work. This is how we do it. So you go to 10,000swords.com/path. It's a one-time payment of $197. And once you purchase the course, even after the 6 weeks are up, it's yours. It's there. It's going to be on Member Vault. You can go back and do it 25 times if you want. All right. So it's a one-time 197 at 10,000swords.com/path. If you're still with me right now, and I'm glad that you are, you have a bonus. You get to get the bonus lesson that I've created called How to Handle Setbacks. Everybody has them. It's not weird. It's not strange. It doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you didn't do it right. It actually means that you went forward, because you can't have a setback unless you've stepped forward. It's really how you handle them and keep moving forward. Because when you're doing so well for so long and you have a hormone shift, or you have a stressful situation in life, or you are exhausted and anxiety pounces on you, you got to know how to handle it. And it will happen. It happens to all of us. You know how it goes. Like everything's going so great, then wham, you hit a brick wall. You can let that wall stop you, or you can say, whoa, that hurt. Moving forward. That's what this bonus module is about. Okay, so that total value, if we add that on, that's another $100 value, because it's a whole nother lesson with resources. That's $1,098. Again, $600 for the course, $99 for the resources, $299 for the group coaching online and the private Facebook group, plus how to handle setbacks for another $100. And it's still only $197 because I want to make this affordable for parents, especially in the middle of everything that's going on, the holidays. Times are tough at work and everything. So 10,000swords.com/path. And you can go in there. It'll pull up a page that looks like this. And it'll say the path to panic free. It'll give you a little bit of information. The path to panic free uses proven techniques to create habit change through support, systems, accountability for lasting success. And as you scroll down just a little bit further, there's a green button. And when you click that green button, you will be brought to a page that looks like this. This is the checkout page. You can just enter your information here, and it will take you to continue to billing, of course. And you can just put in your information there and you're in. You get the course. The course will open on January 1st. In the meantime, when you register, you get some bonus modules. So that is right here. And you just go ahead and find that on there. If you sign up in the next little bit before the end of this webinar, you will get how to handle setbacks. So I am going to open up chat and see if there's anybody that has questions. And if not, I want to thank you for watching this webinar. I want to thank you for joining me. And I hope that you will feel free to ask questions now or to go back in later on. If something pops up later, and I know that happens, I sometimes forget what I want to ask and I have to come back. You are absolutely welcome to email me. You should have my email because I've sent you lots of reminders about the webinar. And I'm not even going to start the timer.